Hello, welcome to Risa's Attic. Today, I'm trying to do some Get Well cards. First of all, these are cards that I got from Hobby Lobby. They come in a big pack. They're $20. You get like 100 of them or more. And they come with the little card and the matching envelopes. So, in order to make these cards, I'm going to do it on a piece of paper. First of all, it's manga illustration paper, and it's recommended, and it may even be made by Copic. Alcohol markers. Copic are a brand of alcohol markers, and if you use them on watercolor paper or regular paper, it just sucks the ink right out of them, and you will quickly use them up, and they're expensive markers. So I had to get something else so that it wouldn't eat up my markers. I have a selection of both Copic and some other things that I've picked up along the way. I'm going to be using a lot of different colors here, and I'll put that in the description section. I've got colors for the flowers and for the wood. I've got some wood on this. It's a Get Well card, and I'm going to have this pretty stamp by maymaymade.com, and I'm going to put this stamp on it, color the flowers and the cross, and praying for your healing. Going to put that in the little banner right there, and the name of this is actually called Banner Blessings. And let me show you how I do my cards, because, excuse me, sinuses are messing up a bit. My hands shake a lot, and they shake even more when I'm doing something online. So I'm going to put the piece of paper here, put some magnets. It's got a metal plate underneath this plastic plate, and this will hold it down securely. I also did put a little bit of glimmer mist on the pieces of paper. I used, this color is Princess Blue. It's a very pretty teal color. I love teal. And then I did a little bit of this color. It's called Golden Rose. You might could call it pink gold, because that's what it looks like when it dries. It does look like pink gold. I got these from Tuesday Morning. Check out your local Tuesday Morning. Can't say enough about them. You can get a lot of items that you truly love to play with at a great price. So, all right, here's what I do. Here's my sticker, my stamp, and I'm going to place it. Okay, it's a little, see how it's narrow over here and wider here, so I'm going to push it just a little bit to the left. That looks good. It looks like it's straight. So what I'm going to do is put that down there. Guess what? It sticks to the underside of this plate. And that way, when I go to press it down, I don't have to worry about my hands shaking and messing it up. These are silicone stamps, So anytime you put them on paper, they're going to, I don't know if you can hear that, it's pulling a little bit. So you'll have to come in here. Unless that has ink on it, it's always going to grab to the paper and pull a little bit. So just make sure you push everything back this way and into the corner. There you go. It's working. I'm using Memento London Fog, and the reason why I'm using the Memento is it doesn't bleed when you use alcohol markers. So here it goes. And instead of using black, I am using the London Fog color so that it draws attention to the drawing and not to the outline. Okay, all right, let's try that. Now, you can apply some pressure, but one of the things about silicone stamps, they're very squishy. If you squish them too hard, they change shape, but that's okay. It's more about letting the ink flow from the stamp and onto your paper. Pull it up. It looks pretty good, but I want to do another layer. While I don't want the emphasis on the ink, I still want it to be defined. I'm not a good colorist, so I do like some definition there. And just let the ink flow from the stamp onto your paper. That means you do just a little bit of pressing there, but not a lot. All right, that looks pretty good. One thing, keep baby wipes handy. So, I'm just gonna, I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm just wiping this, but I'm not going to take it off because I intend on making some more cards. And when I take my piece of paper off, if it's not completely cleaned off, it will stamp onto the back of this stamp platform. Now, when I pulled it up, I could see this a little better, and it does look real faint in this area. So I'm going to put this back in here. That's the beauty of a stamp platform. If you make a mistake, you can just put it right back in the position, and you can do it again. This is on the bottom of the stamp, so I'm just going to concentrate a little bit of extra ink on that, and now I'm going to stand up and press on that particular flower. Much better, much better. Appreciate that. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to clean off my stamp because I'm not going to do all of them right now. Just going to leave it there. And let's get this done. Put that up. Give me a drink of coffee. Thank you, Roland, for the coffee. All right. I guess the first thing I want to do is, I think I'll paint some flowers first. Let's do a lavender flower, maybe with a little pink in it. All right, I'm using Copic BV followed by 4 zeros, which is called Pale Thistle. And this one is Copic as well, BV 2 zeros. This is going to be very, very pale, and this is going to be just a little bit darker. And BV is blue violet. All right, you start off with the faintest color if you're wanting to shade. So here I go. I'm going to make, I think I'm going to make this one purple and these two purple. And you just go ahead and you paint everything that you are wanting to be the purple color or the lavender color. It's very pale violet. Each one of these petals needs to be saturated with this faintest color. Then here's the BV00, and what I'm going to do is, particularly right in the middle where there would be a lot of shadow, I'm going to, now I've watched plenty of videos on this and I still don't have the magic to get it done. I'm going down the center of each one of them, and this looks like it's folded over, the petals folded over a little bit, and I'm just going to do like this. Where one petal is overlapping another one, I'm going to make sure that's dark underneath. All right. Now, let's try this again. This is actually the process. You use 3 colors, but I'm using just 2. Now you go back with the lightest one, and what you're doing is you're basically just taking away the harsh lines of your shadowing, because you don't want harsh lines in your shadowing. And if necessary, you go over it a couple of times. All right, there's one of them. I'm going to let that dry while I do these 2 down here in the same fashion. I'm going to just make all of the petals this very pale lavender. Now, I don't even know what this is. I don't know if it's leaves or a ribbon. I'm going to treat this one as a petal. I think that one is a petal. And I'm going to treat those others as leaves. Okay. Darker color. Go down the center. Anything that's underneath another one, make sure you darken that. And of course, the center of the flower is going to be the darkest, or have more shadow in it. All right. One other thing about Copics, they have a chisel end and they have a brush end, which is very flexible, and that's one of the best points about it. It's like a real brush. It's like a real paintbrush. But the end that has the brush in it always has a gray stripe next to the cap. So you'll always know that you don't have to, oh, is that, no, that's not it. Here it is, there it is. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to, I guess I've already done dark on that one. Let me do this one. Starting again with the light, and it is very, very faint. And I'm really wondering if I chose wisely to do it so faint. One of the things I don't think I did was go back over this one after I had put my darker color on it. That just helps to soften any hard shadows. All right, this one just had the lightest color on it. I'm going to come in here. This is underneath, so I'm going to do that in a dark color. Can't even tell you really what that is. And you realize that I absolutely knew nothing a few months ago about any of this. I got on YouTube and read and researched and read and researched and looked and went and bought stuff. Excuse me. Okay. Now before I go to the pink, I'm going to go ahead and do the leaves. For the leaves, I'm using YG41 and G14. Now, there is a system with your Copic markers, and if you want to go completely by their system, then you wouldn't have the G and the YG together. But since I don't have a lot of Copic markers, they're extremely expensive, and I don't have a lot of them, I just have to make do with what I have. So I'm going to start off with the YG41, and then I'm going to put in the G14. Gray mark, and we're going to do the leaves. And this is a smaller space, and I'm using the very tip end of my brush to get in there. Here's a leaf, trying to do almost perpendicular straight up and down. Every one of the leaves, you just go in. And some of these things, like I said, I can't even tell you what they are. This actually looks like a bud. This looks like a bud too. That's probably a bud too, but I'm going to make it into a leaf. And these look like leaves there. Okay, I think I've colored all the leaves. And you know, sometimes with flowers, even the green leaves will have shades similar to the petals of the flowers, like roses do. So I'm going to come back in with this darker shade of the blue violet, and it's called mauve or mauve shadow. And I'm going to go in and just put a little bit, make a shadow with this color. There is rules to making shadow, but these are so small here. I usually pretend like my light source is coming in from the left side when I do shadows, but these are so tiny, I'm just not going to worry about it. All right, I guess I did that color. Now let's do just a little bit of this. It's a pretty brilliant green here. Maybe like on the tips where you would expect the newest, or maybe you expect the newest color to be at the bottom. I don't know. But just not filling it up. Just making a little tip of it somewhere, not all over it. Alrighty. There we go. And back to the lighter color again, because you don't want it to be harsh. I'm going to turn this over. As you can see, it's still bleeding through quite a lot, but it doesn't have the bleed through that other papers do. Now I'm going to do the rest in pink. I don't know. You know what? I think I'm going to do a blue. All right, we've got BG10, which is Cool Shadow, BG11, which is Moon White, and BG13, Mint Green. And this is more closely related to what Copic suggests for you to have in order to create the proper shadow. So I'm going to start off with the Cool Shadow BG10. And I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do this one right here. So I'm going to make color everything. The whole flower, every petal, the very base of it, the interior. This is just a plain coating. No shadow or anything there. Alright. Is that the lake? Yeah. Now, BG11 is Moon White. So I'm going to put some shadows around the lines that I see. And again, if like something is underneath another petal, I'm going to put a little bit more shadow there. And the base of the flower looks like it's right there. So I'm going to, and then in the center, I'm just going to do some little tiny bursts of this darker color. And then the last one is BG13 Mint Green. And I'm going to be very sparing with this. Just put a little. You're holding your marker just as close to straight up and down as you can do. And barely put the tip of your marker on the paper. I'll put a stripe down the middle of each petal. And the base, I want the base to show some darker color. And then the interior of the flower is always going to be a little bit more shadowed. Okay. Alrighty. And now going back to BG11, see if I can smooth out those shadows a little bit so they're not so harsh. And then one more time with the faintest BG10. Hopefully that will give it some depth. What am I going to do with these? I don't think I want blue. I'm going to use these pinks. Now you see, I don't have everything in Copic. This is blush R20. This is Winsor & Newton Baby Pink, and it doesn't have a brush tip. It has a very short nib. I think that's the same thing here. This is Prismacolor Premier, and oops, wrong one. It also has a nib. I'm pretty sure that this is not an alcohol marker. Doesn't say anything about being alcohol in it, but I think this one is. Okay, the Pro Marker by Winsor Newton is a alcohol-based one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this my lightest color, this my next to lightest, and then this is going to be my very darkest color. Actually, this is fluorescent, and it ends up looking really nice. I've used it on others. Okay, so here we are. We're going to do pink here. This is R20 blush, and this is we're using this as our darkest color. Now I sprayed the background with the Glimmer Mist to make it more interesting. It would look good drawn on a plain background, but making the background have something going on with it instead of it being plain brings a layer of interest to your card. All right, here we go with this pink, Baby Pink Pro Marker. It is alcohol, and I'm just going to go in here where I think there should be a little bit of darkness because of the placement of the petals up against each other, the center. And the center of the petals. Yeah, just trying to darken up the color where I think it would naturally be a little bit more darker. All right, now I'm going to do this one last. I'm going to go back with this. And just paint over it again. And this other color, like I said, I believe it's fluorescent. And I want to make sure that I only use a little bit of it because it does kind of look unnatural to me. It did. But it actually looks like it belongs somewhere beside in a shadow. I'm going to put a little, I think that this one right here is a bud. I'm going to just alongside one of it, I'll put a little bit of the pink. I did go outside the lines there, but that's okay. Or maybe even put a little bit on a tip. Okay. All right. We're going to go back over it with this. Maybe it won't be so harsh. Because it does look a wee bit harsh, and I might not be able to do anything with it since this color is not an alcohol marker. Okay. I'm going to leave the front of the banner white, but the inside, the inside of the scrolling, I'm going to, let's see, what color shall I do it in? I think I'll do it in this mint green. And it actually should have a shading in it, but I don't think I brought the gray one with me. Have to go back and find it. But I'm just going to leave that teal color in the back of the scroll. This I'm going to leave blank for the sentiment. And now I'm going to take these brown colors. This is E. E stands for earth tone. It's E13 light suntan. And I'm just going to go through and all of the wood. I'm going to color it this light suntan color. I get so excited when I do this stuff. I'm like a little kid. I get so caught up in it, and I don't really have a right to teach anyone about this stuff. But I would like to encourage you. If you have a desire to do something pretty, fun, try it. Try making cards. If you don't have a hobby, maybe this would be a good one for you. I really think human beings desire to be creative in some point, in some way. I think it's part of our makeup as created in the image of God. Our God was the creator of everything that we see and know, and He put that spark within us as well. That's exactly what I believe. And I don't have a right to tell you to do anything. I'm just saying, this works for me. I get a lot of pleasure out of it. And you may too. I actually started working with markers and paper when my daughter was young, 20-something years ago, because I started scrapbooking. But I didn't think I did it very well. Now on shadow here, in my imagination, the sunlight is always coming from this direction for me. So I'm going to cast a shadow right here. I'm going to cast a shadow here. And under this too. And cast a shadow here. Here. If the sun was coming from this direction, this is where you would have the shadows. Okay, that'd be a little bit of a shadow right there. There'd probably be just a very faint one right here. And Alright, there's my shadow, and these lines will come in and darken the lines. Okay. Oops. Come back with the light one so as to soften it. This is where I have a lot of problem, because a lot of times the line is too harsh for me, but I can't figure out how to change it. I feel like a little girl back in school or at home trying to color. I was always too anxious, and that's the way I feel now. Too anxious to get it done that I often made tons of mistakes. There we go. All right. Now, one of the instruments here that I purchased is an embossing heat tool. You know what? You don't have to have one of these. You can get you a little old teeny tiny El Cheapo hair dryer and put it on the lowest setting. And you can dry up stuff real quickly. Or you use it for embossing. Alright, there we go. I'm finished with that. One of the things that I forgot. Oh well, guess what? I am going to have to move my stamp because I've got to put the sentiment in the banner. So make sure everything is squeezed down properly. And these little magnets here, these are, I don't even, neodymium. I don't know if I'm saying that right. They're very powerful. They do not fade. And, but if they ever get together, they're very hard to separate. So once you get your batteries, put a little tag on them so you can pull them apart when you have to. All right. Praying for your healing. So I'm going to pull that one out. And I'm going to pull this down so I can see it a little better. And that looks about right. All right, now I'm going to do this in VersaFine Onyx Black. This ink is very good for detail. I guess some inks have more substance to them, and it actually will create like a smudge or something. But this prints precisely, and most everybody uses this for their okay, see how I'm doing? I'm just making sure that all my letters are looking good. Now I got a little bit on it right here, so I'm going to wipe that off so I don't accidentally get that put down on my card. So here we go, one more time. This is cool. You can close it if you get it on, it is just very dark. All right. Remember, you don't have to smash hard. Just put a little bit of pressure on it and give it a second or two for the ink to be absorbed by the paper. Let it flow from the stamp into your paper. That doesn't mean you can't apply a little bit, but especially when you are using silicone. Silicone smushes a whole lot easier. So you have to be careful so you don't smush it so hard. Praying for your healing. That looks great, but I'm going to do it again just to make it stand out a little bit better. And I did get a little bit on the plastic again. It's going to be right in the same spot because I'm using my stamping platform. I think that looks real good. Okay. All right, I'm going to wipe that off with my baby wipe so it doesn't get everywhere. And I'm going to show you something that I'm going to do to soften it a bit. It's going to go on here, and I've made it with just a little bit of border to go around it. I've been in here rearranging my supplies, but I don't have a lot of supplies. I mean, by far, I have no supplies compared to some. I really like rounded corners. They just look softer to me. They don't look harsh. This is the Paper Studio. That's a Hobby Lobby brand. You know, anything you buy from Hobby Lobby, you can use their 40% discount coupon if you want to. And that means sometimes I have to go 3 and 4 times a week so I can get everything that I need. So there it goes. It's going to be put down on the card like this. Now, I do see a little bit of white sticking over. I'm going to leave that. But I'm going to see if I can do this. That will give it a little bit nicer finish. Okay, I'm going to leave those like that. Okay, I'm going to come down here. You're not going to see me doing this, okay. All right. I use whatever is on sale as far as tape runner and adhesive is concerned. And this must have been on sale somewhere. Okay, I'm going to pull it up closer to me, and I think that's going to do it. Praying for your healing. And then I'm going to put a sentiment on the inside. Here is the envelope. Now, I've started keeping on my desk a bone folder and very thin, small embossing folder. I put this on the back flap. Can make sure I center it pretty good. Instead of getting out my whole machine to just do this, I put it on there, hold it down, and I think I probably got my head in the shot there. And I don't know if this is wiggled or not. Looks like it did all right. So there's a little bit of embossing there. And that just adds a little bit of prettiness to it. This is a simple, simple card. I just want to say to you to go over to MayMayMadeIt.com. May made it on YouTube. She probably has a Pinterest page as well. A presence on Instagram, I'm sure, as well too. Just go on Pinterest, go on YouTube, look up card making videos. You can learn so much, and you can do so much with just a small amount. Excuse me. A small amount of supplies. Thank you for stopping by. If you like it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, please. Thank you. Have a great day.